Hey everyone, Josh here with Royal Treatment. Today I'm going to tie one of my favorite winter steelhead flies, a little rabbit tube fly. And I am going to start with some Pro Tube. This is about a maybe 1.5 inch piece of the medium. This is orange, but whatever color you want, doesn't matter. Clear, pink, red. I'm going to start with a little base of thread. And I want to leave maybe 3/8 of an inch of tube in the back. And so I am going to lay down a little base of thread, and you can see how it's compressed the tube there, so it's nice and tight right there. I am going to take a piece of baby blue black barred rabbit. This is a really cool color and just a great winter steelhead color. And I'm just going to lay down a base of thread right on top. And this fly goes together very quick and easy. Yeah, that looks good. And what I'm looking for, maybe 3 inches of rabbit. So that's probably an inch. There's about 2 inches. So 3 inches, 2.5 to 3 inches. So maybe right in there. And if I feel like this is too long, I can always trim it down. So once I have this in place, and I feel good about that, what I'm going to do is I just take this and turn it over. I just leave it right in the vise like that. And I'm going to put my barbell eyes on right now. And what that's going to do for me is that's going to help me figure out just exactly how much space I have to work with, so I don't get too big of a gap. If I wait till the end to put the eyes on, you end up typically having a big gap between the end of your material and the eyes. And I kind of want to mitigate that, if you will. And just flip that right back over. About like that. Seems pretty nice. And then I'll just take a little UV resin. Okay, yeah, we're looking pretty good there, I think. So now I typically am going to take a little bit of ostrich. And what I'm going to do is, this is the tip of a bigger feather. And I'm going to cut off maybe 8 to 10 pieces. And I'm looking for maybe an inch long. So now that I have a nice clump, about like yay, this is kind of just going to help to fill out the bottom of this fly. And I'm just going to lock it in right on the bottom. Maybe preen it a little bit. That looks nice. And this fly doesn't look great at first, but all of a sudden it's going to transform and it's going to just look really good. So I have that on. Now I'm going to add a little crinkle mirror flash. And maybe I do 3 or 4 strands. Something. It's going to add a little bit of bulk, a little bit of flash. Yeah, that looks like 4 strands. And what I'm going to do is double them over around the thread. And I'm just going to lock them in right on the bottom. And I'm going to trim them so they are not as long as the rabbit, somewhere in the middle. You can see this fly, once it starts moving, goes together really fast. And I pulled out a couple pieces of Schlappen. Wasn't the best Schlappen, but it's good enough for what we're going to do here. And actually, kind of seems like really the best stuff is kind of the junky Schlappen that's super webby and you don't really like it. It doesn't look great. So I'm kind of flexing this to see where it ends, where the flexibility ends, and that's kind of going to be right where I strip it. and I'm going to strip the base of this feather. Yeah, right in there. Looks great. And then what I'm going to do is trim that, and I'm going to tie it in kind of on my side and up and at an angle. And then I'll leave a little bit of that ultra fluffy stuff at the base. And I'm just going to start wrapping. And we kind of want it to have a marabou type look as it's coming around. And then it transitions kind of into hackle. And that's why this nice webby kind of long stuff that isn't the best looking works out really good here. And this feather has a pretty good like twist to it, so it's not being super user friendly. Yeah, I think that looks nice. And then I'm just going to take and lock it in, give it a few thread wraps. And you can see that because I tied those eyes in first, my material ends just right at the barbell eyes. Finish it up there. Nice. Give it a little whip finish. Looks pretty nice. Yeah, this fly really does come together very quickly, and it ends up looking really nice, and of course it fishes really good, which is the most important part. Hit it with that torch, get that UV resin, and that UV resin is the flow, Solares flow, so super thin, just like head cement. Nice. Okay, I'm feeling good about this fly. So pull that off of there. We're going to trim this up, and we're going to cut maybe about 1/8 of an inch up from the thread. And then we're going to flare the end of that tube, and all we're going to do is drop this down onto it. Don't leave it on the needle and melt it back. Just hit it with the flame. You can see it rolled back, stayed open pretty good. Now for me, I normally am just going to fish this like this. I'll tie a big loop knot and pull that up inside of that tubing. Some people like to use a straight eye hook and pull it into a piece of junction tube. If I'm going to do that, what I typically do is put the junction tube right on my needle. And then I'm going to kind of clear the material out of here, push this on, and now just push these two together, and that junction tube just slides right up on there. Kind of a good little trick for this. And that's going to be one of my go-to winter steelhead flies, especially if I want a little bit of weight without adding a lot of bulk to the fly. This fly fishes really good, it sinks, it has tons of motion, looks great. I hope you enjoy, hope you tie it, I hope you get some fish on it. Thanks for watching.